What if an AI could read an entire book, not word by word, but in a single glance? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? Well, a new breakthrough could be making it a reality, and in the process, it might just completely change how AI processes and maybe even remembers information. Let's get into it. Think about how you look at a picture. You don't scan it pixel by pixel. Your brain just takes in the whole thing at once. Now, what if an AI could do that exact same thing, but with text, absorbing entire pages, maybe even whole books, in an instant? This isn't just about making things faster, it's a fundamentally new way for AI to see the world.
So why is this such a big deal? Well, because right now, AI has a huge reading problem. The more text you ask it to process, the slower and way more expensive it gets. It's kind of like trying to read a novel through a keyhole, one word at a time. It's a massive, massive bottleneck. Look, give an AI a short paragraph, no problem. It's fast, it's cheap. But a whole book, or say a decade of financial reports, that's a totally different ballgame. The computational cost just goes through the roof, and it's not linear. If you double the text, you don't just double the work, you can quadruple it. This has been a major wall holding AI back from truly understanding huge amounts of information.
So how do you get around that wall? Well, this is where it gets really clever. Researchers at DeepSeek-AI had a radical thought. What if we used AI's strongest sense, its vision, to solve its biggest reading problem? What if we just turn the text into a picture?
The whole concept is called optical compression, and the idea is honestly brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of feeding an AI millions of tiny word fragments, or what we call tokens, you just take an image of the page and let the AI look at it. It's like shrinking down an entire library into a photo album that the AI can flip through in a flash.
And get this, it works like really, really well. At about a 10-to-1 compression ratio, the AI can read the text back from the image with over 97% accuracy. To put that into perspective, that's like taking a 10-page report, squishing it into a single image, and having the AI read it back almost perfectly. That's a huge leap in efficiency.
Okay, an idea this cool needs some serious tech to back it up, right? So how did they actually build this thing? Well, DeepSeek-AI created a special model just for this. It's called DeepSeek-OCR, and it's basically the engine that brings this whole idea to life.
You can pretty much think of DeepSeek-OCR as having two key parts working together. You've got the eye and you've got the brain. The eye is a part called the DeepEncoder. Its job is to look at that image of the text and compress it way, way down. Then the brain, which is a powerful language model, takes that tiny compressed visual and perfectly reconstructs it back into text. It's a really elegant system. So, how does this eye actually see? Well, what's so cool is that it's designed to mimic how we read. First, it zooms in and scans all the fine details, kind of like when you're reading a sentence up close. Then, it squeezes all that information down, dramatically reducing its size. And finally, it zooms out to see the big picture, the overall layout, the context of the whole page. It's that combination of detail and overview that makes it so powerful. All right, so the theory is awesome, the architecture is super smart, but does it actually work? When the rubber meets the road? Let's take a look at the numbers.
And yeah, the results are pretty wild. At that 10x compression level, it's hitting that 97% accuracy mark. If you get more aggressive and push it to 15x compression, you still get a really solid 85% accuracy. Heck, even at a crazy 20x compression, it can still pull out 60% of the original text. This gives you this incredible dial you can turn to balance between speed and precision for any given task.
But okay, how does this stack up against other models? Well, this is where it gets really impressive. On a standard industry benchmark, another state-of-the-art model needed around 7,000 visual tokens to analyze a document. DeepSeek-OCR did the job better. It got a higher performance score using less than 800. That is a nearly 90% jump in efficiency while getting better results. That's a total game changer.
So clearly, this is a massive deal for reading documents. But this is where the story gets so much bigger. The researchers realized this isn't just about reading. This could fundamentally rewrite the rules for AI memory.
And this is the really profound part. The researchers themselves say they took inspiration from us, from how human memory works. You know how it is. Memories from this morning are crystal clear, but memories from 10 years ago, they're a lot fuzzier. What if an AI could actually learn to do that on purpose?
Imagine an AI's memory as a photo album. The conversation it just had with you, that's a super sharp, high-resolution photo that takes up a lot of space. The data it processed last week, maybe that photo is a little smaller, a little more compressed.
And a memory from 5 years ago? It could just be a tiny, highly compressed thumbnail. The AI could essentially learn to forget by letting old memories fade, prioritizing what's new and relevant.
So let's tie this all together. Why does this matter so much? Well, for one, it could finally solve one of AI's oldest and most expensive problems. But beyond that, it points to a future where an AI could have a practically unlimited memory, but one that works a lot more like ours. It's an incredible balancing act between remembering everything and being efficient, and it opens up some really deep new questions about AI consciousness itself. It leaves us with this really fascinating question. For years, we've been chasing this idea of a perfect, flawless memory for AI, thinking that's the peak of intelligence. But what if we were wrong? What if the ability to forget, to let go of the unimportant stuff to make room for the new, is just as critical? If an AI learns to forget, is it becoming less capable? Or is it, just maybe, becoming a little more like us?